An ancient poet once said, "Who are my friends but the water, rock, pine tree, and bamboo? The moon floating on the mountainside makes me even happier. What other friends do I need but these five?" This poem was written by a man called Yoon Sun-do. This poet was at one time the king's teacher. But because he was betrayed by humans, by double-minded, double-hearted people, and he decided to live a life apart from this world where he can trust no one. So he abandoned all secular things like politics and went deep in the mountains where he would never again be hurt by betrayers and people he could not trust. So he said, "Who are my friends but water, rock, pine tree, and bamboo? The moon floating on the mountainside makes me even happier. I only need these five friends. I don't need people whose hearts change." So he turned his back on the world and on humans. And this poem became my poem. It's so wonderful. We must be like the water, rock, pine tree, and bamboo. And there is so much to learn from them. They teach us many precious and great truths. Water, rock, pine tree, and bamboo. This water friend teaches us many lessons. Water is humble, full of love, joy, and peace. And it's so humble. When we go to the mountains, we can see trees and plants trying to show off their faces. And they even stand under tippy toes telling us to look at them, that they are the most beautiful. But this water friend just quietly passes by under the feet of all those arrogant friends without even trying to show itself. Yet it praises God the most and sings such wonderful songs. What's the more, when this water meets hardships and difficulties, it raises its voice and praises God even more loudly. It's quiet when it passes through the normal path of life. But when there are hardships and difficulties, it praises God even much more, stronger and loudly, thanking God. And it's so humble that it looks for any place to go lower than others. It goes slow when it's wide and flat, but once it finds a lower place to go, it is so happy and wants to go down. People don't want to go, they're reluctant to go to a lower place. They try and push people down. But water friends, they go down lower and lower and faster than others. They want to jump first. And they're so happy to do that. And they smile, satisfied. But ignorant people, they say, water is falling and making bubbles. Water is not falling because they are humble. They're trying to go down faster than others, so they're jumping. They're not falling. And it's not bubble or foams, but it's smiles and laughter. On the other hand, this water friend is always full of peace and joy and loves all people. You can never see water frown. People will throw stones or stab at it with swords. Even the thorn bush gets in its way, yet it never gets angry, but continues to smile and goes its way. But rocks are in contrast. When water friends pass by, singing joyfully, these angry rocks stand against them with swollen faces. And the water friends wash their face, saying, "Why are you so angry?" So these angry rocks, they say, "Why are you washing my face?" And they push the water away. They push him down the hill, down the waterfall. But the water never turns around and says, "Why are you doing this to me? Why'd you push me?" It just keeps on going. In spite of being ashamed and rejected by rocks, the water just passes by and smiles and washes little pebbles, baby rocks. In any case, water friends have a beautiful heart. They have to serve others and help others. And that's why we use the pebbles in the sand, washed and cleaned by these water friends, to build homes, churches, even palaces. And we live in them. If water friends did not wash those pebbles, then we'd have to build houses with dirt. But you don't hear people thanking the water friends who washed the sand for them. People build so many houses and buildings in the cities, but they never say, "Oh, we built these homes and buildings because of the water." And this water friend freely gives itself to the ground and allows anyone, anything to eat it. It gives itself to deer, pigs, cows, snakes, whoever, whatever. So it gives itself to anyone, even dry land, animals. And water even enters the smelly body of people and animals, even snakes, and gives their life to them, and enters their body and gets rid of all the impurities and cleans their body out. Who in heaven or on earth will do that kind of unpleasant work? Only water is willing to enter our body and the body of animals and take out all the impurities from our body. And after taking out the impurities, it goes. And then it takes nutrients to the trees so high, goes to the top of the trees and little plants and gives it to them so they can eat. They're always serving others. Yet you never hear people or animals or even trees say, "Thank you, water. It's because of you. Because you serve us and clean us, we can live." But whether anyone thanks them or not, they just continue to serve us. They've been doing this for thousands of years. What beautiful friends they are. I cannot fully express all that I learned from the water friend. And water has firm chastity. Whether it enters a person's body or an animal's body, or goes in a dirty container, it always remains as H2O. It keeps its chastity. And whether it goes up to heaven or comes down to this earth, it always remains as H2O. It never loses chastity. And water also perfectly obeys God's order, because God told him to go down to lower places. So this water obeys day and night without ceasing. They don't even say, "Oh, let me take a nap, let me sleep." They just continue going. And they sing songs of joy. What a beautiful friend. I don't know how to praise this water friend. So a poet said, "The clouds are bright, but turn dark soon. The wind is so clear, yet it stops so soon." The only thing that is good and consistent is water. You know, white clouds, turn dark a moment later. They change easily. The wind blows now, but it stops. It changes. So the only thing that is good and continuous is water. They praise God unceasingly for 4 seasons. And when the difficulties come, it sings even louder. And even though it sees friends being broken and sacrificed and going through the difficult ways, it doesn't try and avoid it, but continues to follow and sacrifice itself as well. Throughout its lifetime, water never thinks about going to a high position, only goes to a lower position. If we told water to go on top of a rock for even a second and give water money, the water will say, it's better tell me to die and just come down. But people try and go up and they trample other people. They complain. And they don't want to serve others, but they want others to serve them. There's no other thing in this world as selfish and foolish as man. And people also hate to obey God the most. Next, rock. From the rock, we can learn patience and unchanging loyalty, unbending stability on principles without regard to circumstance. In the beginning, God said, you stay here. Once He commands, whether it rains, snows, or is windy, it does not move, and it just keeps His place. Even in the middle of the cold winter, oh, I'm freezing. Let me warm myself under the leaves over there. You can never hear rock saying that. And even if it's hot and the sun is shining on his forehead, he never says, oh, I'm so hot. My forehead is burning. Let me cool myself under the shade over there. Through all 4 seasons, through hundreds and thousands of years, this rock keeps its place, which God has appointed him. Yet rock is so humble. Whether children or animals or birds go on top of the rock and even defecate on the rock, it never frowns or curses them. He receives any sort of treatment with humility and smiles. And how beautiful and how holy. Even if it is thrown into the river or stream or any dirty water, it does not allow one drop of that worldly water to enter his heart. That's why God praised the rock and said that people like John the Baptist, Elijah, Jesus were like rocks in the wilderness. So we should also keep our position in place like the rock where God has appointed us. Whether we are a pastor or a teacher or a student, each person should keep their position in place, yet be humble and never shake when it comes to principles, and must be like the rocks who absorb not even a single drop of water of the world, wherever we are. What a beautiful friend this rock is. Even if it is placed in a cesspool of dirty water of the world for 1,000 years, yet it does not absorb one single drop into his heart. And even if it's thrown into the bathroom or into manure, it does not contaminate its heart. So we can learn from the rock patience, unchanging loyalty, firm stand on principles, and also amazing humility. A poet prays it like this: flowers fade, grass withers. All that unchanges is the rock. Flowers may be red one day, but they fade the next day. They change their colors, and the petals fall. Grass may be green one day, but it turns yellow the other day and dries. So only rocks never change, but remain forever. That's why God is establishing the stone country, by selecting those sons and daughters whose hearts are as firm as stone. He chooses them as his children. That's why he has a stone country. I hope you'll be these rocks. Third, the pine tree. From the pine tree, we can see the image of a loyal watchman. We can also learn patience, love, gentleness, and loyalty. You know those trees? They show their faces off in spring and in summer as if they are the most loyal to God. When the season is good, they say that they are the best. They love God the most. They're the most loyal, and they shake their leaves. But the pine tree sits in the back, quiet, with his head bowed down. But later, when the autumn comes, and the tribulation, trouble, and the winter comes, all those trees, opportunistic trees, they hide their faces, and they run away, and as if they had never been loyal to God, ever. But pine trees then show themselves, yet they're still humble, and they go through the trials and tribulations, and they preserve their chastity. And when the winter enemy comes and beats upon him, why won't you surrender? All the other trees have surrendered to me. How do you dare stand against me to the end? And thrashes this pine tree with snowstorms and puts heavy blankets of snow on the branches. And sometimes even the branches, the arms of this tree are broken. Yet it keeps its chastity, shedding tears, yet it stands firm against a snowstorm to the end. And when the trees stop producing oxygen, he still continues to give oxygen. And that's why this beautiful, chaste, loyal pine tree has a main root that goes straight down. The roots of other trees spread sideways, but the pine tree root has the main root which goes straight down. And then the next year, when the comfortable seasons and peaceful times come, all those opportunistic trees which hid themselves once come out, and then they show their faces again as if they had never lost their chastity, or as if they never departed from God. Then this pine tree disappears in the back again, quietly. I'm so fascinated by the beauty of this pine tree. He is the only friend who produces and gives us oxygen through all 4 seasons. In ancient times, because of these opportunistic retainers, the country was always in trouble. There was one who was truly loyal to the king, but he got arrested and was tormented by those opportunistic retainers. So he said, "What will I be after I die? I will be a lofty, stately pine tree on top of the highest mountain. And when death covers everything on the snow, I will stand alone and flourish as an everlasting evergreen." So though he is put to death, he said that he will be a lofty, stately pine tree on the top of the highest mountain. And when all those opportunistic retainers disappear and lose their chastity, he made up his mind to stand alone and be loyal to the king and the nation to the end. I hope you'll be such loyal pine trees. Our Father is looking for such people nowadays, but there are so few. There are those who look for opportunities to betray or any reason to leave. And they are ready to betray if they're mistreated even the slightest bit. We should be like the pine tree. Whether our Father acknowledges us or not, we should still keep our chastity to Him and love Him to the end. That's why our fathers made the pine tree an evergreen and has sealed it. That's why pine trees don't even die easily. And because our country is a country where the saviors of the world are to come out of, our Father planted many pine trees here. A long time ago, when I was young, our mountains were bare, and foreigners who came to Korea said that there's no way for the mountains in Korea to be restored. Because the mountains were bald. There was no trees. But if you look in the mountains nowadays, there are huge pine trees. No one ever planted those pine trees either. No one ever planted them. Our real daddy planted all those trees to show us to be people with chastity. Please look at the pine tree and keep your chastity. And that's why our Father gave us these pine trees to look at. The government never planted all those pine trees. And pine seeds cannot go up to the tops of the mountains. Our Father gave us this pine tree with the desire that we have the same kind of heart and chastity as the pine tree. So there's a poem about the pine tree. When it's hot, the flower fades and the grass withers. But how is it? You didn't know how to wither. You know, when it's cold, the flowers which had bloomed wither, and the grass withers. But how is the pine tree? It's so chaste, yet it has a deep root. And so, seeing how you have a deep root, I know your chastity. I know your loyalty. That's why the main root of the pine tree is very, very deep and it goes straight down. We should be like the pine tree. And regardless of what tribulation befalls us, even if our arms are broken, then we should keep our loyalty and chastity as human pine trees. Next, bamboo.